Well, good afternoon. It's 2:30 Pacific time, 2:30 Mountain time, and welcome to ALPOUGH. I am ALPOUGH, and I am your host. This is number 77, the 77th show. Double sevens. Um, that's my destiny card number. It's always been my lucky number. Double sevens. So, hey, here I am. I can't wait for 777. That reminds me of gambling. Maybe I'm doing something right. I want to thank everybody. I had a great birthday yesterday. So many people reached out to me, almost 100 people on Facebook. Thank you so much. I did my best to answer back to every one of you and just let you know, it's in this new thing that I'm doing here, I know that I'm stepping into a realm that I've not done. I'm putting things on the line that I've never done before. My whole career on YouTube, which I actually joined in 2007. So I've been on YouTube for a long time. When YouTube first started, you could really, as long as there wasn't porn, you could basically, say anything as long as it wasn't violent or anything like that. My company sent me out a video that was an hour and 15 minutes long on now the things that you cannot say on YouTube. And it is literally a dictionary on all the things that have changed. I have been already censored 3 times just since I started in April. And, I'm almost finished with my second month. Today is the 26th of May, May 25th. Was a 1-year anniversary of George Floyd. And so, it's my birthday is now synonymous with history. But I'm here to help make history also. Just to let you know, I am not a conspiracy theorist. I am an informationist. I'm about finding information, and I make my own decision on what it is I decide on, and you make your own decision on what you decide on. The thing is, we're being bombarded by the red pills and the blue pills, and we're in the middle of it. And so it's for all of us, it is about finding the information that works for us. Okay. So now I did it today. I did it today. All right. So this is in line with me in the sense of I am an informationist. That doesn't mean that I believe the information that's being given to us, but I recognize trends. I see them. I see how things have changed here over the last year and a half. Guys, we're literally in a new environment where people are telling you things are going back to normal, but what is the normal now? As you can see, it's still in its own twisted frame. And so we're left with defining who we are. Okay. So here's today's show is about flat earth, truth or friction. Okay. That is not a misspelling. Okay. Truth or friction. And the question is here, well, why now? Why now? So I'm going to let you know that there are so many things that I look at, even if it's a wild thing, I at least want to know as much information as I possibly can, because I've only been here now 64 years and not 63. So 64 years. And I've seen many, many trends, including the way history gets rewritten. Okay, so now let me just tell you how I stumbled upon this, and I mean literally stumbled upon it. All right, so this is back in 2014. So 2014, Again, I'm studying everything. One of the things about, I think at the time, was looking into satellites. How many satellites are up there? Also, I started having these question marks about, about going to the moon. And then I grew up. I believe it was the year I was born was the first time a spaceship, I want to say the Sputnik, went up. I think it was the year I was actually born in 1957. And that kind of started the actual going up in the space. And so then what ended up happening was they thought that, okay, well, they're going to take over the sky. So now the United States has to get up there. And then that is where the actual race came about going into space. It was more about a race than whether or not it could be done. Okay. So, and everything was very primitive there. Just there was the computers like they are now. They say that the actual Apollo went to the moon with something as small computer gigabyte memories that is in a phone. And so, it was done. We didn't know, but here it is. So anyway, so here I am looking at this. My whole thing was, why haven't we ever seen us actually fly into space? And here's what my point that I wanted to say. See, I grew up when the rocket goes up, all right, there's a camera behind on the rocket. And so as you go up, you see you going up, then you see the booster rockets fall, right? So the booster rockets fall, right? And you see they're rising and the booster rockets fall. Now, in all of the actual flights that was happening then, and it still happens now, is there was never ever a camera that was actually in the front window, the actual window of the capsule that could let us see as we go up into space. Okay, so you never saw that transition from where you're going from our atmosphere up into space and then bolting at 17,000 miles an hour around the actual Earth. So that was one of the things that really was kind of like looking. I was really looking for one of those space flights where there was a camera that was actually in the capsule. And so out of the blue, there is in the subject headlines over there was a video by the name of from Eric Dubay, who it was 200 proofs that the Earth was flat. And I went, oh my God, you kidding me? What? It's like, I'm like, what? It's like a joke. I'm like, this is ridiculous. But I have watched more ridiculous videos than you can possibly imagine. So this was just something that I decided to click on to prove that, of course, this isn't true. And the actual video was three hours long. And I watched the whole video and I was left with just the question of, again, where the heck am I? Now I got to look everything up again, everything from the beginning. And I had to go all the way back into history, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, to go back and look. So I'm here to just let you know that I have information. Okay, this is more about being the question, Neo. What is the question? So I took the strategy of proving whatever is right or wrong. Okay, but just to be able to get a wrap around this, okay, because it did create a phenomena. Now, this is not the first time, so I just want to give you a generalized thing. I'm not here to say I'm going to prove to you once and for all, okay, because I'm not here to do that. But what I am here to do is to inform you on this perspective that I got, and I want you to listen to me till the end of this program. And I think that it will give you some more insight, not to say whether or not it is or not, but that does bring up questions about the things that we were taught when we were growing up. So please stay with me. Okay. So now I looked up flat earth. There is no definition. If you look up flat earth, there's no definition. So it's not even in the dictionary. Okay. So that's one of the things that it's not in Merriam-Webster's. Okay. It's not in there. So that's like the number, the Bible of the dictionary. So, all right. So, but flat earther is, so I looked up flat earther, and it's simply flat earther is someone who believes the earth is flat. That's basically, that's the first definition I find. And the question is, that you might be asking me, am I a flat earther? Okay. Am I a flat earther? No, I'm a spiritual warrior. Okay. I'm not going to label myself as something that I would have to fly up there to prove. Okay. But what I am here is to understand my true surroundings. And so that is why I'm, that's what the definition of what my spiritual warrior is. And it is, so from Sophia is the wisdom. So I'm, if you want to go, I'm a spiritual warrior who is a seeker of wisdom. And since Sophia is wisdom, I am seeking out. And my understanding on what she always encourages all of us to do is to find out what your surroundings are. Find out who you truly are. Find out what the truth is. I'm a seeker of that the wisdom. Wisdom is truth. And it's very hard to get. And it's also very hard to keep. So when you get wisdom, like Sophia is wisdom, okay? And so for me, that is more of a encouraging thing to go, well, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I'm open to what is true and what could be true. Okay? Now, up until the 15th century, everyone believed the earth was flat. Up until the 15th century, everyone believed. This is before Christ. This is thousands and thousands of years before. Everyone had assumed that the earth was flat. Okay, so now what was the change in the 15th century? Well, science became the official religion. Okay, now again, things changed. All right, so work with me here. Science came about. Now everything was in a different scientific, the word and everything became born. Okay, now I'm saying that, okay, so it changed there, and everything in the past has been rewritten. They came out with a new Bible. They came out with a calendar. Okay, their whole mental environment, it went from pagan to Catholic or Christian, right? And so there was a mixture of this new. Okay, I did a video about basically what happened in the 15th century. If you go back, you'll see that I have talked about what happened in the 15th century, okay? Including the Bible and many history books were all rewritten, okay? So why? Well, the victor goes to spoils. So if you are the winner, then you can write history any way you want. Just look at it now. Look at it now. I mean, when you really see, now look, there are so many subjects I've touched here now. All right. I've already talked about the 15th century and what this change was. Now, I didn't talk about that, but this was one of the things that happened. Okay. But I have gone into detail about the massive change that came about in the 15th century, including all time was measured in a different way. All days were looked at. So even though it's a religious calendar, Gregorian, from Pope Gregory, that's why they call it the Gregorian calendar. All right. And so everything started to be rewritten. All right. Now, here we are now. Okay. The earth, even 2,000 years ago, does not look the same that it did when the earth was created. Okay. Now, this is not going to be easy to say, but I'm just going to say it. The earth has turned into a gravel mining pit. Everything on this earth has become a mining. Everything. We used to have large trees. Now, I brought up this, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So the earth has turned into a gravel mining pit, and what's being hidden? Okay. Well, number one, the great trees have been cut down. All the great trees. When you see these mountains and they're flat at the top. I've gone into that, including about it's called the Grandma Mountain, but it's the Grandma Tree, but it's actually, they call it the Devil's Mountain. Okay. And it is actually a tree. If you look it up close, I did a video on that also. And so these trees went miles up into the sky. People lived into the trees. They had all the vegetables and fruits, everything that they could eat. They didn't need to eat animals. They had an abundance of fruits and vegetables. So there was no need to actually participate in the slaughter of animals. Okay. And so they were cut down. You see, giants walked the land, and even amongst us, if you go back and you look and do any search engine, even on YouTube, and say giants walked the earth even in the United States, okay, 10 feet tall people, all right, they've been with us. Even now, there's a story about in Afghanistan where they came across a giant man who killed a platoon. So giants do walk among us, even right now. Now, personally, I think that they're underground, and so we don't see them; they're hiding. All right. So now, and also pyramids from all over the world have been buried. Buried. There are so many pyramids in the United States alone that have been buried by the ground. All right. And probably part of it by man. Okay. So now, which brings up to the question is, well, whoever built the pyramids, they weren't dumb. They can't even build them now. So who built the pyramids? They were not, you don't think they were, maybe the word wasn't scientists, maybe the word was the wise ones. Okay. And see, to me, wisdom could be turned into science. Could be another word for science these days, right? Okay, so whoever built the pyramids were very smart. Now we know that because we can't build them ourselves now. We don't have the equipment. So who built them? Well, that's a whole nother subject that I'm going to get into. I don't want to get into that. I'm really here to bring up why now? Why now? This is not the first time. This has always been a question. All right. It's just that now you've had YouTube and other media platforms that were able to bring this out. Now, back then, when those pyramids were being built, everyone thought that the earth was flat. There was no movement in the sky. So they thought that the earth was flat. Okay. So now stick with me here. All right. Because this point next is really where the question lies. The Tower of Babel is the real question. Okay. And now we've seen all throughout a lot of the history books, including the Bible, about the Tower of Babel. And what was it that, God said, look, they're becoming a team. They can do anything if they put their mind to it. So they started building this tower. Where? Why build a tower? This tower was huge. It was huge. So, why build a tower? Well, maybe to go to the top and look out. Where am I? Maybe to see whether or not it was flat. See, they were causing a question. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe they were building it to go to the moon. Maybe they were building it to go out into space. You see, so then what happened? How did it get torn down? What happened to turn? Was everyone put under some type of a spell? Because it appears that they all spoke the same language. So they turned them into babblers. And they had to go find the people who talked like them. Or at least that's how the information was interpreted. So was it a spiritual spell? Was it scientifically done? Who knows? It's a huge cost for finding the truth. All this does is create more questions about what our surroundings are. You see, I cannot prove to you whether or not the earth is flat. Now, you can say, well, I can prove to you that the earth is round. Okay. Well, you could, but then again, there's so many other arguments to go back and forth and back and forth. And so for me, but I do know that it is 150,000 feet to the top. It's either where the firmament is or you go out to space. Pretty simple. It's about 150,000 feet straight up. So, and then when you supposedly get past that 150,000, you have to go through something. And then all of a sudden you enter into this 17,000 mile an hour speed, which I still don't know how anybody can do that. But again, it is where what's the actual, what are our surroundings? And so I am not here to have some type of conclusion because I can't convince you one way or the other. But I do ask the question, Neo, because why? It forces us to be positive of what our true surroundings are. And that is the only statement that I want to make, you see, because we are defining us. What else are we defining, guys? Well, what's the red pills doing? How's the blue pills changed? We know they have, but what are we trying to do? Like Jack Webb used to say on Dragnet, just the facts, ma'am. I'm trying to find the facts. Let's see here. Yes, Tracy says the Devil's Tower. It's the devil. Thank you, honey. I said the Devil's Mind. It's called the Devil's Tower, and it's a giant tree trunk. Let me see if I have that. I think I do. There it is. Is that it? Yeah, here it is. The Devil's Tree Trunk. The Devil's Tower. And as you can see, it's flat. As you can see, it's flat, you see. Now, then you look at it a little bit closer and you see the actual, these are like the roots. It's not like a mountain, not like lava, okay? This is lava. This is what the Devil's Tree Trunk, and these types is on the left, and what lava does is what's on the right. Okay, so you can see that the way it's grown, these grow down into the ground. The roots go out 400 miles. So everything in a circle of 400 miles, any plant grown comes from the roots of this tree. You see the flat top. So this is all about bringing up the question mark, okay, of what our true surroundings are. And we did live where the trees were incredibly tall. So if you look at this is the comparison between this giant tree trunk, and what it actually is, how tall it actually was. Now that does not look like what the tree, because it went out and up, and people lived up in there, okay, and they wanted for nothing, and so the creation that we were given is not the same one now. The earth was magnificent, and it still is, but it's changing, ladies and gentlemen. And for us, we have to find our true surroundings. And I'm here to just continue asking the questions, doing the best I can to find answers for all of us to make our own proper decision. So I want to thank you all for being here today. I hope this sheds any light on what possibilities there are, but at the same time, I'm not here to change your views. But again, you probably might have heard the craziness of all this. I will do other talks about it, as well as talking about pyramids, and what it is upstairs in air. All right, what it's like to go up in the air. All right, maybe one day we'll all be able to do that, but right now, only a few people can go up there. Most of us can only fly up to 30,000 feet. Okay. Now, I'm going to leave you one tidbit. When you go look out your window, look out your plane, remember it's a curved window, so that makes it look kind of curved. But if you look, you can see. I'll go into that another time, but I really just want to put that out there because it is a question that people have been bringing up, and it has caused a lot of friction. And there's arguments on both sides, including all the history books, including the Bible. So we're going to go over in that too, and we're going to go over a lot of other things. So thank you for being here. I'm always inspired by the wisdom of Sophia, and I hope to pass that on to you. I'll be back tonight. I am going to be on Amanda Darling's. I'm going to be on after a podcast. I'll be coming on at 7:00 tonight. We're going to have a blast. We're going to be talking about some really great things, and I will post that at 6:00. But I'm coming on at 7, maybe 7:05 Pacific time. We'll see you then. ALPOUGH. That's me. I'll see you next.